The hundreds of South Korean workers detained in that sweeping immigration raid at a Georgia mega plant jointly run by Hyundai and LG Energy Solution are set to be flown back to South Korea. The workers were among 475 individuals detained on Thursday. This was during one of the largest immigration raids in recent history. CNN's Mike Valerio joins me now from Seoul. Talk to us about all of the variables here, because there is a constituent variable there in South Korea. There's the corporate element, the government element. What do you know?
Yeah, there are the people who pretty much are trying to convey, Victor, throughout South Korea that they understand that immigration law needs to be upheld. They understand to a degree that side of the equation. But if you put yourself in the shoes of the South Koreans who are going to the United States to try to help out President Trump's vision of making American industry great again, I think people are astonished here, Victor, that even if there were visa irregularities for more than 300 South Koreans, what you've heard here in Seoul and throughout South Korea over the weekend is pretty much the following, that even if there were visa violations, how about authorities in the United States coming to this plant and saying, hey, we think that XYZ is wrong? Instead, there is an astonished and floored feeling that people have looking at this video released from ICE, seeing fellow South Korean citizens with chains around their waists led away in handcuffs. When you're talking about a key American ally right next door to China in this critical part of the world that's trying to help out American industry, I cannot stress enough to our American audience and people watching around the world the feeling of betrayal that is emanating from all corners of South Korean society. So to wrap up where we're going here, we don't know when exactly this plane is leaving from Seoul, how long it's going to take to get all 300 plus people onto the plane and back home. We're trying to wrap up our reporting when we're going to be able to talk to the people who were detained by ICE, asking them what exactly it was like. And it's still unclear, Victor, what precise infractions people had been detained under. We have somewhat of an idea that perhaps, the visa, specific visas were not what they should have been, but it's still a pretty vague idea. But I can tell you the emotional collateral damage from this policy is still felt here, acutely so, and it's not going to go away for a long time.
All right, Mike Valerio for us there. Thank you, Mike. We've also learned that President Trump is said to be planning a trip to South Korea next month. This is for an economic trade summit. CNN's Elena Treen has more on that from the White House.
So we have some new reporting that the president and his top advisors are quietly preparing to travel to South Korea next month for a gathering of the Asian Pacific Economic Cooperation trade ministers. That's what 3 Trump administration officials tell me. And this visit is being viewed as a very good opportunity for President Donald Trump to sit down with Chinese President Xi Jinping. I'm told that there have been serious discussions about a potential bilateral meeting between the two on the sidelines of the APEC summit, though no plans have been finalized. Now, I think it's important to point out that the officials said that the administration is viewing the expected trip, which is still being finalized, and there are questions of whether the president could add more stops on his visit. They're viewing this as an opportunity for the president to clinch more economic investments in the United States, something that has been a key focus for him on other trips abroad, including his travel to the Middle East. I spoke with one official who said that a lot of this is going to be about economic collaboration with other countries, but they also said other goals include a focus on discussions around trade, defense, and civil nuclear cooperation. Now, another interesting part to all of this is that it could also be an opportunity for President Donald Trump to sit down with the North Korean leader, Kim Jong-un. Now, it is a question of whether or not Kim is even attending this summit, but I would note that when the South Korean president visited the White House last week, he talked a lot about wanting President Donald Trump to sit down with Kim. He invited Trump to the summit in South Korea, and he also said that he should look at it it as an opportunity to try and set something up with the North Korean leader. Now, all of this comes at a tenuous time in the president's relationship with both President Xi and the North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. And that's because just recently we saw Xi hold a very big military parade, something the president referred to as being impressive, but he invited the leaders of Russia, India, and North Korea all to that summit. And we saw the president, who often says that he has great relationships with each of those leaders, kind of strike back and criticize the summit. At one point, he said that he understood the reason that they were doing the parade and having all of those leaders there, and said, quote, "They were hoping I was watching, and I was watching." He also issued a series of posts attacking them over this meeting. One of them reading, "Looks like we've lost India and Russia to deepest, darkest China. May they have a long and prosperous future together." All to say, there are a lot of dynamics at play when the president likely goes to South Korea next month. Another one of them, of course, being trade and the tariffs between both the United States and China. We are still gathering more information on what the nature of this visit is going to look like, but we should likely see the president heading to South Korea next month. Elena Treen, CNN, the White House.